Yo my people, so in this video I'm going to use my experience of over 2,000 hours in trying to learn to master trading. I'm going to share my experience with you on exactly what I would do if I was trying to master this skill again from scratch. I also asked some of you guys over on my Instagram, so this video will be my best advice on your questions. The best way I can explain this is we are trading currencies or indices. We are pretty much trading price movement. When you invest in stocks, for example, you know that you buy a share or a specific, small share or a big share in a company and you own that share. That as price moves up, your ownership moves up as well, so you have more money. Your $1 is now worth more because the price of that share has gone up. Now, in terms of trading, what we do is that we are anticipating that price is gonna go up, and we are buying because we know price is gonna go up. So that way our money goes up as well. That's the difference. We don't own anything. We are just selling and buying. We can do both. We can make money by selling and make money by buying. We can sell because we know that price is going to go down, and we can buy because we know price is going to go up. That is sort of what trading is in simple terms. That's all you're doing over and over again. Price either goes up or down. There's no other ways about it. Now, there is London session and there is New York session. London session is in the morning. For me, that would be from 8 a.m. GMT. That is when London opens, and you see price boom up and things happen as soon as London opens. Then there is New York session, which is in the afternoon at 1 p.m. GMT for me, and that's just when you usually have USD pairs and stuff become a lot more volatile. There's a lot more volume, and that's just when I guess the banks and stuff are trading in the US. That's basically what those two are. So when it comes to the best pairs I will trade, generally you want to trade pairs that have GBP in them in London session. Anything with pounds, trade that in London session, because think about it, it's London, that is the main currency. That currency would usually have a lot of movements in that time, in that zone, right? And for New York session, you do the opposite. Anything that has USD in it, that's the same thing. Now, of course, London session and New York session do overlap at some time frame. I believe it's from like 12 to maybe like 2, something like that. Now, GBP and USD would obviously move very erratic during this time, so there's a lot of opportunities and trading opportunities that might show up in that time. So you can also trade GBP USD, anything along that line. But I say this generally because there's times when I'm still trading USD pairs in London session. Doesn't mean it's not going to move at all and you're just going to be stagnant. No. Both do, of course, work, but generally, if you want the most volatility, the most price movement, the most volume, then you want to trade USD in New York and GBP in London. Also with Euro and the rest of them. So any currency that has to do with London, the UK, Europe, yes, you want to kind of trade those in London session. But we also have indices. Indices is something I want to quickly introduce you to. So what is indices? Indices is basically trading things like NAS 100, Tesla, Apple. I guess these are just things that aren't exactly currencies. So NAS is a very, very good example. NAS 100, we also have the S&P 500, you also have the DAX 50. Now, these are basically all indices, and indices are basically just a representation of the market. So these are indices that I like to trade. And why do I like to trade them? This is just because, first of all, they have very, very good price movement, very good volume. It just seems like the way price moves it's nice. When you're a trader, you would know this. You would see the difference in how forex pairs move and indices. Indices, you can make a lot of money quick. You can lose them a lot of money quickly. That's why you see a lot of people like to trade things like gold. Gold just moves quickly. You can make a lot of money in 5 minutes, lose a lot of money in 5 minutes as well. Biggest thing for me is that most brokers do not actually charge commissions for trading indices. That is why I personally love indices. So if you do need a broker yourself to probably look at all-in-one platform to actually start trading, then you can actually check Vantage all-in-one platform. Now they daily should cover everything. You can trade indices there, forex there, whatsoever you want to trade in. You can make your deposit and you can withdraw your money ASAP as well. I would definitely recommend you check them out. They have most indices there that you actually want to trade if you want to fully get into trading that, so that way you don't pay that much commissions. So yeah, check them out. There'll be a link down in the description below for you to use. And thanks again to Vantage for sponsoring this video. Personally, I use MT5. I have used both. I started with MT4 because a lot of people, just like probably what you've heard, a lot of people say MT4 existed for a while, steady and all that stuff. Yes, I guess I used MT4 for a bit. Personally, I hate the interface. it just looks old, first of all, but that is the idea. It is the older version. MT5 is a newer version. So for me, it's sort of like, would you rather use an iPhone 8 or use an iPhone 15? Like, do you know what I mean? It's just, I'd rather use the 15 personally. It seems like MT5 does everything the MT4 can do and more. So why not use the MT5? But the biggest thing is MT5 on phone is just way better because you can do things like literally set your stop loss, your TP. You can drag the values to exactly where you want them to be instead of typing in the actual values and the numbers. So it's 10 times better for me just by that alone. But of course, I would recommend that whatever you do, either MT5 or MT4, definitely trade on your laptop. It's just 10 times better. If you're a scalper, your execution will be way better. So MT5 on laptop is what I personally use, and that is what I prefer. One of my struggles was greed, and the way I overcame greed is simply by backtesting enough and obviously forward testing as well to be able to realize that, okay, cool, I keep losing money because I just keep making the same mistake. I keep holding for too long and I keep losing money. So the thing is, when I backtest, I do it live in the sense that I assume, cool, this is my setup, I'm going to leave here, right? And then I realized that my strategy is to leave here, but I'm going to leave here because I feel like price is going to go there, which is exactly what we think when we're in a live trade. We feel like price is going to move to this exact point. We hold longer because we want to make more money. When you forward test and trade live as well, you realize that you keep losing money. So the only way I was able to really overcome greed was by losing enough money, by being greedy to see that, okay, enough is enough, right? Like, why am I trying to hold to make 1K when I'm seeing $500 on the table, for example, and I'm not taking it? When I also realized that most people in this world aren't even making $500 literally in a day anyway, but I'm here making that in literally 20 minutes and I'm not taking it, right? So it took something for that to really click, but once it clicked, I realized that, okay, cool, follow your strategy, have it there to the T, and be happy with it and be content. Plus, I just had to simply eliminate other things that will make me want to hold for longer. For example, brokers with peak spreads, right? Because let's say I want to enter here and then the trade enters me here. I needed to get rid of that because when I'm entered late, I want to hold longer to make up for that loss, right? So that made me a bit more greedy, but why do that? So I needed a broker that will enter me exactly where I want to enter the trade, so I know that I got the perfect entry and I'm leaving exactly where I would leave based on my strategy and backtest and experience. Now, the second was revenge trading. This I overcame by simply increasing my account size. My issue with revenge trading was simply that I would lose money and I would just want to enter a trade again, or I can blow my account and I want to just get another account like this and just start trading again. So increasing my account size, what this did for me is that, one, when I make money, I'm making enough. See it this way, right? You have a 5K account. If you make 1%, you're making $50. $50 isn't much in, let's say, the UK, the US. It's not going to do much, right? Let's be honest. So for me, it's like I would want to enter another trade, or if I lose, I'll just want to put crazy lots on. Like, I'm more risky with that account basically because I'm not making enough and it's like it's cheap to get as well. So eventually, after losing a ton, I realized, okay, let me go for an account I'll be content with. How much would I be happy with? I literally sat there and asked myself this question: how much would I be happy with every single day? And I realized, you know what, make $100 just standard isn't bad, right? $100 a day is what most people are making, let's say, on their 8-hour shift. $100. So I realized I can make more by just getting like a 50K account. 50K account I'm happy with because even if I'm risking 0.5% to be super safe, that's $250. That's still way more than most people are making. So doing this, making this change, one, a 50K account is not cheap. If you lose that account over and over, it starts to rack up because that's like $300 just for the account alone. So I'm not just going to be being stupid and just taking stupid risk and just, I'm not going to do that. So that helps me with that, and I'm not gonna really, so it's just like almost like having more on the line to lose for me to realize that, okay, cool, start being smart. That's what works for me in terms of revenge trading. And once I kind of implemented this and I made money and I became funded and I realized, okay, cool, now I'm happy with my profits. It was just easy for me to just take my money, even if it's 1%, I'll take it, we'll make my 1-to-1 and I'm out because I'm happy with the profits. Primarily, the first thing I needed was a strategy that I can explain in 5 minutes. This was the biggest thing, the primary thing, the most important thing, because for me to explain the strategy in 5 minutes or less ticked all the boxes that I wanted, because it meant that the strategy was simple enough. There wasn't like 5,000 lines that I would have to draw on the charts just for me to even find a setup. it also meant that I can explain the strategy as well. If I can explain it, it means I understand it. If I understand it, it means I can do it myself. And people understanding it as well, it just makes sense for everybody, right? People understanding it means that other people are happy to learn, because I knew that I was going to learn trading and probably passing that skill to other people. So it needs to be something I can teach other people quickly, rather than having to, sit down and tell you, cool, have you got 5 hours for me to just explain what it is to you in the first place? So finding a strategy that worked and was very simple, very profitable was key. The second thing is that I am just somebody that likes scalping. So this needed to be part of those boxes, and it needed to be that it has a high win rate. Because with trading, you can either have a high win rate and make less often, or you have a low win rate and make a lot when you do win. I preferred making little but high win rate. It's just better for my psychology to know that I'm winning 70%, 80% of the time than losing 90% of the time. But when I do win, it's like, big, huge wins. I personally don't like that. It gives me a headache losing every single time. Having this ticked first was like progress to me, or it being profitable. Just knowing that, cool, I got the strategy is no longer the problem. Now, the second was backtesting. I say this a lot in my videos, but the reason is because I didn't backtest for like the first 6 months of me trying to actually learn trading. And this was me putting in full-time work, like everything, right? So that 6 months was like a lot of work. So after I started backtesting, I put in 100+ hours backtesting, literally backtesting over and over again. When you're asleep, I'm backtesting. When you're awake, I'm backtesting. When you're eating, I'm backtesting, right? Backtesting is pretty much like studying. It is pretty much doing like a past exam paper to over and over again until you really get it in there. So I backtested so much that I pretty much saw and understood the strategy to the T. I was able to get a lot of data. I was able to test a lot of things. I was able to pretty much see if, cool, is my TP gonna go here most of the time? Is my stop loss gonna be like this most of the time? Which one do I prefer? What do I want to mix and match and stuff? Because I trade supply and demand. There's different variations to how you can do it. It's still the same strategy, but different slight variations. Like where you leave is different for some people. How you enter is different for some people. But I tested every single thing until I found one that works for me, because that's how trading is. You don't just always take someone else's strategy, boom, and just copy and paste it. If it doesn't resonate with you too much, you're not fully happy with it, tweak it slightly, test the results and see that it works for you. If it works for you, you will like that strategy a lot better and you'll be happy with it, rather than not being happy with it and then on different trades you're doing different things. You're being greedy one day, another day you're not holding long enough, another day you're panicking. All those little things, you need to be fully confident with it. And I got there by backtesting over and over again. For this, you want to click on this video on the screen to learn the best 3 ways to backtest, because I went through it in detail and the last one is my favorite.